What's up, interwebs? Welcome to the Storytime Podcast. I'm Tim.
I'm Adam.
And yes, we're going through Season 1 of the Storytime Podcast, which is Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild. Angelic Wars, Book 1. My first novel I ever wrote back in 2004-2005. And we are on Chapter 10. 10 chapters in of 25. We're almost halfway through.
Wow.
In the middle of 24, middle of 12, we'll be halfway through the story.
Yes.
But we're not at the halfway point of the story.
No, not at all.
So.
Not even close.
Yeah, the middle of the point happens somewhere like 15, I believe.
Jeez.
I think. I don't know. We'll when we get there, we'll figure it out if we think where the middle point is.
Okay.
Of the story. But so yes, we'll get to that. Adam will do the reading, and we'll talk about the chapter as its own, and then as well as the chapters before it, to see how well it built up to this chapter and all that. But so if you haven't listened to anything before this, you might want to go listen to that first, because we will spoil things. We're not gonna anything that's come before we'll say again. Anything that hasn't happened, I'll try not to, even though we've spoiled a few things.
Stop doing that
without actually spoiling things. So, but before we get to the reading, if you want to watch some awful gameplay, go check out Adam's channel.
ZOP Gaming.
They're terrible.
We're awesomely bad.
They're pro quotes around pro.
Hard quotes around those,
yes,
bro.
Hard quotes. Hardcore quoting here around the pros. Gamers.
Yes.
And then other things also. If you like this episode, we'd love it if you go on and hit that. Smash that like button as a prayer. And as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe, because I got running content on this channel. Stuff will be on screen. Maybe at the end. Maybe here. I don't know.
Yeah.
With that stuff out of the way, let's get to the reading.
Chapter 10. Dragpent. Who were those guys back there? Natalie asked. And who are you? Why are you helping us? My name is Cyrus, he answered. Brad is the guy Sage injured the other day defending another student. Ryan he also hurt, but not as badly. The person who sent them is head of an underground cult, which has plans to get a member into the Oval Office. Okay, said Natalie. That is not it. Cyrus continued. They want to put a member into every office in every country of the world. That way they can make people follow what they believe. I guess that is a big plan after all, Natalie said. Why us? The reason those guys grabbed you is because someone you met today believes he needs you to help him and his new allies complete an ancient legend, Cyrus said. You mean somebody we met today? Natalie asked. The only person we met today was... Dr. Toller, interrupted Kiana. That's what I was going to say, Natalie replied. I just couldn't remember his name. He is the person who ordered those men, Cyrus said. He is one of the higher leaders in the cult. That's why he wanted to meet with me? Kiana said. What? Brad told me that I was going to make them a lot of money tonight, continued Kiana. He mentioned how Dr. Toller wanted to meet with me tonight. He wanted to kill you, Cyrus said. That is all he wanted to do. Why kill a girl he doesn't know at all? Natalie asked. The person he allied himself with believes by killing her they will receive ultimate power, Cyrus replied. Well, I'm glad you saved us, Kiana said. I might be dead about now. I don't understand why, Kiana, Natalie said. Also, how do you know all of this? Do you stalk this guy and listen in on his private conversations? I am not allowed to tell you that information, Cyrus said. Not yet. Why not? Natalie asked. What are you, some secret agent for the FBI or something? No, Cyrus said. I report to someone much higher than the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You'll just have to trust me. Why should I trust you? Natalie asked. He did just save our lives, Kiana said. True, Cyrus said. I could have just let those guys take you two, which means your sister would be dead and you would have been raped, then most likely killed. Natalie went to speak, but she stopped herself. She knew what Cyrus had just said was true. She wasn't sure about Kiana being dead, but what Brad said made her believe that she would have been raped. After a long silence, she spoke. Okay, Natalie said. Your actions show that we can trust you with our lives. However, I don't see any reason why we should just trust what you say, especially when you are withholding information. That's fine, Cyrus said. My suggestion is that you take my word as if you can trust me. Right now, I am the only person who can keep Dr. Toller and his cult from getting you. Whatever, Natalie said. Cyrus? Kiana said. Yeah, Cyrus said. I'm bleeding back here, Kiana said. What? Natalie said as she turned around and looked at her sister. I think I got cut when that creep punched through the back window, Kiana continued. Let me see, Natalie said as she crawled into the back seat, avoiding the broken glass the best she could. Kiana showed her arm. Blood was gushing out. How did you not notice this until now? Natalie asked. I don't know, Kiana said. I didn't even feel it happen. How bad is it? Cyrus asked. Bad, Natalie said. Do you have any napkins? Sure, Cyrus replied. He leaned over and opened the glove compartment. He pulled out a stack of napkins and handed them back to Natalie. She took a few and wiped some of the blood away. She looked at the cut before it was covered again by more blood. She grabbed another napkin and covered the cut. She added several more as she put pressure on the cut to stop the bleeding. We're going to have to take her to the hospital, Natalie said. She's going to need stitches. That isn't an option, Cyrus said. What do you want her to do? Bleed to death? Natalie asked. Hold on, Cyrus said. I'll pull over and treat the cut. It will have to last until we can get you to someplace safe. A minute later, Cyrus slowed down as he pulled off to the side of the road and pulled up to a street light. Once he put the car into park and got out, he walked around to the trunk that still had 2 knives stuck into it. He pulled them out and dropped them on the ground. He opened the trunk and pushed a baseball bat to the side and pulled out a small first aid kit. He then walked around to the side of the passenger side where Kiana was sitting. She had already opened the door and was sitting with her legs hanging out the door. Okay, Cyrus said. Pull the napkin away and let me see the cut. Kiana did what Cyrus asked and pulled the napkin away. The cut was about 1 inch long and deep. It wasn't bleeding as bad, but for it to heal, it would need stitches. Cyrus set the first aid kit on the ground and opened it. He pulled out some of the gloves and quickly put them on. He then pulled out some gauze pad and some gauze wrap. He tore the wrapper off the gauze and placed it over the cut. Then he began to wrap the gauze pad with the gauze wrap. After a minute or so, the cut was well wrapped. He then wrapped his hand around the gauze, and a bright light appeared under his hand. Kiana didn't even notice it, for it only lasted a second. However, Natalie did, which just brought more questions she wanted to know. That should hold long enough for us to get the two of you to a safe place, Cyrus said. Where did you learn to wrap a cut like that? Natalie asked. Yeah, Kiana said. It didn't hurt at all when you touched it with the gauze pad. I've had many years of practice, Cyrus said. Cool, Kiana said. Have you figured out where you are going to take us? Natalie asked. I have an idea, Cyrus said. Well, we are not going until you give us some answers, Natalie said. You are a very nosy girl, Cyrus replied. You just can't stand it that you don't have control over the situation. I just saved your life, Yet you won't go with me unless I explain how I know what is going on. Right, Natalie said. You really need to learn to trust people, Cyrus said, especially those who save your life. I don't care what you think, Natalie said. I just know that my sister and I aren't going with you unless you give us some answers. Fine, Cyrus said. Don't trust the person Sage sent to help you out. What? Kiana said. You know Sage? He is the one who sent me, answered Cyrus. Why do you think I was there? Then you know where he is, Natalie said. Please tell us. Is he all right? He's not hurt, is he? Slow down, Cyrus said. I'll make a deal with you. I will answer any questions you have only after I get you somewhere safe. Natalie and Kiana looked at each other as if they weren't sure if they should. But the fact that Cyrus knew where Sage was made it hard for them to say no. Okay, Natalie said. We'll go. But I have a lot of questions and I'm expecting answers. You will get them, Cyrus said, as he packed up the first aid kit, pulled the gloves off, and stuck them in a bag they came in. He then put it into his pocket, figuring he would just throw them away when they got to where they were going. He picked up the first aid kit and walked back around to the car and placed the first aid kit back into the trunk. Cyrus didn't know that the baseball bat was missing before he closed the trunk. He walked back to the driver's side and reached inside and grabbed a map from the glove compartment. Pulled the map out and walked around to the hood of the car. Cyrus unfolded it and placed it on the hood. Now where would a good place be to go? Cyrus said, looking at the map. Cyrus looked at the map and saw all of the possible places he could go. After a minute or so, he figured out the best place to go. He picked up the map and refolded it. Then he walked around to where Kiana and Natalie were. I know where we're going, Cyrus said. Where? Natalie asked. It's a long drive, Cyrus said. It's about 3 hours from here, so we better get moving. I have a feeling Dr. Toller is not going to be happy that his plan failed. I know his allies won't be happy. Okay, Kiana said. Let's get going. Cyrus stood up and looked Natalie in the eye. A nice smile she had on quickly turned to a face of shock and fear. Cyrus went to turn around to see what it was. Before he could, a baseball bat to the back of the head dropped him to the ground. Kiana looked to see who hit Cyrus from behind, and it was none other than Tom. Now that he's out, said Tony, we can finish our plan. Quick, grab the girl and let's go, said a voice from behind the car. That voice sounds like Brad, Natalie said. It is Brad, said the voice as he walked into sight. Natalie was shocked at the sight of his face. Blood was oozing down from his forehead, where his head clearly went through the windshield. His neck no longer looked like it was broken, and his face had cuts all over it. You should be dead, Natalie was finally able to manage. You would think that after a hit I just took, Brad said. Well, I'm not, and your sister's coming with us. Tom dropped the baseball bat and threw Natalie to the ground, then grabbed Kiana by her arm and pulled her out of the car. They headed across the field towards the woods. Natalie got up and ran after them, hoping to save her sister. Cyrus stood up and looked around. The blow from the bat had no effect on him. He did not see Natalie or Kiana, so he looked around but couldn't find them. Then he heard Natalie scream, and he looked and saw her at the edge of the woods, which was about 100 feet away. He noticed that the bat at his feet, so he picked it up and took off towards Natalie. As he ran, he picked up speed faster than a normal human. As he reached them, he swung the bat and nailed Tom right in the center of his back. Several cracks were heard as ribs broke and the back cracked. He fell to the ground and didn't move. Brad came from behind and hand-clubbed Cyrus with his hands at the base of the neck. The blow did nothing, and Cyrus turned around and stared at him. Brad slowly began to walk backwards out of fear of who Cyrus was. He got about a few feet when Cyrus charged and tackled him to the ground. He picked him up and threw him against a tree. Brad bounced off and fell to the ground. Sure, Brad was not going to be getting back up. He turned and faced Kiana and Natalie. "Are you all right?" Cyrus asked them. "Just some bruises," Natalie said. "Let's go," Cyrus said. "Let's head back to the car." They turned and began walking back to the car. Tony and Brad were not getting back up, and there was no reason to run. As they got about halfway to the car, Kiana heard a noise behind them and turned and looked. There was Brad, hunched over with his arms draped across the ground. Kiana pointed to Cyrus and Natalie to look behind them. They were shocked to see Brad. "Pathetic humans," Brad said. "They think they are so strong, yet they fail every time." Suddenly his back blew up like a balloon, and quickly the skin ripped and fell to the ground, revealing the black-scaled dragpent standing in his place. It stood about 6 feet and 7 inches tall. Its lower jaw extended 4 inches out past the top jaw. All the teeth were very sharp. Its arms were long and skinny, and if it bent a little more, they would have been able to touch the ground. The body was big and muscular, and the waist down was small compared to the body. The legs were hardly a quarter of the length of the arms. The feet were like what a dragon would have, long and wide. The hands were also long with 3-inch long pointy nails. The eyes were yellow and were like a cobra's. It stared right at them, and with a quick movement, the creature rushed at Cyrus. With its left arm smacked Cyrus right in the head and sent him flying into the air and threw the car into the road and rolled it to the middle. Natalie and Kiana turned back to the creature, grabbed Kiana and spread its long dragon wings. As the creature spread its wings, they hit Natalie, which sent her to the ground. Kiana shouted for her sister as the creature pulled her into his chest and grasped her around the chest and took off to the sky. "Natalie!" shouted Kiana as the dragpent flew high into the sky. Natalie slowly got back to her feet, with tears rolling down her face. She watched her sister be carried away by an ugly creature. Once they were out of sight, she heard a noise in the woods. Not sure what made the noise, she started moving towards the destroyed car. Before she could take a step, 3 more dragpents jumped out of the woods and surrounded her. They looked like they were going to eat her. One slashed at her, but missed and sent her to the ground, and she hit her head. She slowly began to move, but before she could get back to her feet, another dragpent grabbed her. It spread its wings and got ready to take off, when Cyrus dropped from the sky and kicked the creature in the back of the head. The dragpent let go of Natalie as it fell to the ground. Cyrus landed on his feet and ran over to Natalie and picked her up. Once he had her in his arms, the 2 other dragpents charged him. Before they could reach him, 2 huge bird wings shot out of his back. With one flap, Cyrus shot into the air.
Adam.
Yo.
He said the R word in here. Not once, but twice.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to actually go in and censor that.
Yeah, maybe.
Or there'll be a little thing in the on the bar saying this deals with this. With actually just the word that said.
Yeah.
I forgot I put that word in there when I wrote it.
Yeah.
And I transcribed this not that long ago, and I should have remembered that. But, yeah.
Right away. This, regarding big picture here for a quick second.
Yes, big picture.
Part of the last chapter would have worked better adding into this chapter.
Yes. As we said, I figured we would agree on this one. Going back to the Skylar Grant.
Yes.
Where almost every chapter, something. Once in a great while, we get a chapter that ended where. Right where. No, that's a good break.
Yeah, no, with Cyrus turning and being like, let them go, would have been a great spot to pick this chapter up and start there.
I actually thought about something. You know, this is a week in a difference between this airing, but only minutes after.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
It's been a long time since we recorded.
long 7 minutes since we last recorded.
Seven entire days. I mean, weeks. I mean, hours. No,
What
minutes,
were you saying, Tim?
seconds.
I was actually thinking would have been an interesting way to keep the last chapter, as long as it was, but still have it end on the reveal and bring that into here.
Yes.
Is when we reveal Brad is inside, you cut to their viewpoint coming in.
Oh yeah.
So we can see Brad doesn't have a plan.
Brad has no plan.
And no, keep with that idea. Brad has no plan. And somehow, even though they've done a lot of jobs and not having a plan has worked for them,
Yeah.
this is just like, we're gonna break in.
But
I'm gonna grab Sage. I'm gonna pump him full of lead. Maybe stab him a few times. Then we're gonna take the girl,
yeah.
or something like that. And then they go like, and everyone's friends like, girl. There's two of them, right? Like, which one is it? The 12-year-old. He's right. She's right there in this room. Away from.
We could just grab her now.
Though, if you look at the layout of the apartment, it's my apartment from college.
Yeah, there was no
that.
way in through that.
No, there wasn't. But anyway, even if there was, it's almost right next to the kitchen where they are. There's only a bathroom in between them.
Once again, how does people sneak into an apartment through the window and not make any noise?
Well, obviously we have the
Especially
answer.
five, like one person. Okay, 5 people. No.
We obviously have the answer now because we now know what was inside of Brad.
Yeah.
Or was that Brad and then the thing took over?
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
I think the healing is actually what was them putting this inside of him.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with,
Especially
too.
since it was the cult and not the coven.
No, it was the coven.
But
Or
no,
was
it was the cult in this chapter. I said cult like 3 times.
Oh, the cult.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's because Cyrus was referring to the coven as a cult.
Yeah.
And for a reason, I think the definition is, no, they can call themselves a coven all they want. They're a cult. They're trying to distinguish themselves between a cult, so it's easier to recruit. No, you're a cult.
Yep.
And even if you go back and you're like, no, they're a cult. They just want to.
They just call themselves something else.
They call them something else. And Dr. Toller clearly knows they're a cult.
Yeah.
Daniel knows they're a cult, but they're going to call themselves a coven.
Jacob knew they were a cult. But knows
Jacob,
they're a cult.
Jacob actually didn't know they were a cult.
He didn't?
No, clearly not.
He does now.
He's smart, but he's just not smart enough. Just a tad not smart enough. But yes, I agree. It's starting off here. What did you think of the overall big picture of this? How it's written, obviously.
This chapter and all that. Very well. Very well. You give us, a very good description of these drag pens.
Yep.
Even though the name could have been so much better. They could have been the Surgeons. Sergons. They're serpent dragons instead of the dragon serpents.
Yeah. I was so proud of this name when I came up with it. I look at a lot of stuff about this book because at this time I never thought I could ever write something, come up with a concept, and take it to a completion.
Yes.
I always wanted to be the idea guy. Maybe just flesh out just enough to sell it and have someone else do it.
Oh, of course.
Which at the time when I realized that's not a job.
That's not a thing.
But actually now it is.
It still kind of is, though. Like, now you get co-authors.
Yeah, co-authors, or you're just a producer.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be the writer part, but not realizing the producer job was the thing I wanted. But it's not the producer. Hollywood is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
On those terms and everything, and what you can do and what you don't do. Yeah. But I was so proud of because I wanted a dragon, but I didn't want to call it dragon because I wanted the great dragon to be something else.
Right.
But I like the serpent from the Garden of Eden. I'm like, what if you put the two together? And I think I probably went through the Sergon. And I'm like, no, the drag pen. That's it.
And then you added a T to it, so it's the drag pent.
I know.
Drag pen would have been okay.
Drag pens. The drag pen. The serpent. That's why the serpent.
Right.
That's why the T's there, but the serpent is better. Yes.
Drag pen.
Drag pen would have been better, but the T. I don't really care. To me, it works.
The
either
drag
way.
pants.
I'm glad you like the description because every time I look at that description, I'm like, I have no clue if this is getting across what I'm trying to. This one is clearly going in a certain direction of a certain Spawn character.
Very, very, very specific Spawn character, the Violator.
Yeah, and that was the face, the jaw of the. It was definitely from there. The rest of it, I think, just came in naturally.
Yeah, you wanted a very thick body, spindly arms, tiny legs.
Actually, I think I only want the current iteration of the drag pin description is very similar. It's not spindly arms, but not buff chest, but not scrawny legs.
Okay.
It has more gargoyle type legs.
All right.
Or dragon type legs.
Yeah.
To it. Now. But back then, yeah, it was kind of. I think I was the jaw. I really like this idea of a dragon snout, but the jaw comes out a little bit further, being really cool. And I told you about this. I had a picture of it. I don't know where the picture would disappear to.
Oh.
I have a picture of of another creature. I almost said the name.
Oh.
We'll wait for that to show up.
We save that for later.
We'll wait for that to show up. Some there, but I cannot find my picture of the drag pin. I do not know where it disappeared to. It's gotta be somewhere on the computer. I just don't know. Every time I search for it, it does not come up.
It's lost.
It's somewhere. I gotta. So one of these days, I will try to redraw it. There's another thing when I drew it, I'm like, wow, I drew this on the first try really, really well. I'm like, I can't believe how well it came out.
I understand what I drew here.
Yeah. But it was really good, and I think I drew this before I described it. So I was using this, at least the head, to describe it very specifically. But yeah, I was very proud of it, and I do like the creature. Very well. I do think at some point in not this draft. I think when I was trying to revamp this into the draft that would eventually the ideas would eventually go into the Veil trilogy back in 2009. I did try to put a serpent's body on it, so it'd be like upper body like the dragon, and but have like a serpent tail.
Huh.
But I'm like, no, I like that. I like the actually having legs.
Yes.
I did play around with it. I know that at some point. I just don't know where I played around with it.
I just like the fact that, it explains how Brad has survived.
Yes. And that was the purpose of this whole chapter, was to eventually reveal that.
Thrown through and then back out of windows in a moving car.
This is why I think, like when I mentioned in the last episode,
Smashed into a tree.
Having him go through the windshield.
Yeah.
Have Cyrus run him over. Really better sets up.
Hey, I'm still alive and I don't understand it either. And then after getting smashed the second time.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like, okay.
So I have one other major question regarding some of the characters in this.
Okay.
Who the hell is Tom and where did he come from?
Oh, he was the loser friend that they had to bum a ride from.
He was the driver.
Yeah, he was the driver.
Because I do love the fact that, well, also the fact that, Keith shows back up.
Yep.
But there's no explanation as to when Keith showed up, or because that dude took a massive hit on the hill.
Yep.
Like, he should be done for a while. And he was like, hey, guys, I'm back.
Well, it's not really well presented in the chapter. No, this chapter. No, they all had a drag.
Oh yeah, but
it's
by the end, you kind of accept.
You kind of go like, okay, maybe not the ones that came from the woods.
Yeah,
but the first few, okay, they came from them too, his buddies. But it's not as clearly stated.
No, not really.
I remember I don't know where this was in a draft, what draft this was in, because I know I had a version of this where you didn't have the back and forth of Cyrus, them grabbing her, knocking out Cyrus with the bat that obviously did nothing.
He's like, I don't know why I even fell down. Ugh, that bat didn't do anything to me.
And then them.
Why is the world wobbling?
I knew there was some version of this where it's just Brad who shows up.
Okay.
And he's already mangled up, and then the drag pin rips out of his back, so that whole chunk vanishes.
Oh, all right.
And knocks I don't know if it's. I do think it was somewhere in a draft in this story, but it could have been one of my Travail Trilogy drafts.
Could be.
I don't know, honestly, at this point. Everything just kind of blurs together. I know I have written that scene so many different times in so many different ways. I can't keep track of where they were, but I have my brain is telling me it was somewhere in the Legend of Angelic Wars story element.
Okay.
It was going to. Or maybe it was in an outline version of the 2009 version.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know. But I knew I had a version of it. It's just his friends went there. He just appears all mangled. And then we find out why.
I enjoyed realizing that he was super mangled and that he was transforming while I was reading it, because I was like, oh, this is the moment that he transforms. And I was like, I'm changing his voice now.
Yep. And it worked out good, too. Like, that you, on the fly, you're like, okay, okay, voice change.
Yep.
Okay. I probably would have had the voices changed for direction at the beginning of the scene, but not much.
No.
A human version of the Dragpin's voice, which honestly, I don't think we ever get a Dragpin's voice ever.
No.
Later on.
Okay.
In the story.
This is the one that gets to finally talk.
It's the same thing of the other creature that will appear that will talk once and we never hear it talk again.
Awesome.
And that's an interesting type voice, but maybe it does talk. Anyway. But yeah, but overall, like, you still like the flow? Did you like
absolutely.
the explanation from Cyrus actually explaining they're clarifying what the boys were thinking of as their reward?
Unnecessary, but blunt.
Yeah, I mean, using the R word,
Yeah.
didn't need to be used.
No.
I mean, again, 2003, 2004, 2005, when I was writing this, different type. At this point in the at this year thing, we didn't need to use that word, but we could have said other ways of making sure she knew what, and the reader knew what was going to happen if you didn't. Though I do kind of like the subtlety of our reward being all that we needed, but it was clear that in the scene that Natalie needed to understand what was going to happen to her.
And it turns out that they were a bunch of dragpents, which means that they weren't going to actually do that. That was just Cyrus still thinking they were human. They were just going to eat her.
Or were they dragpins at that point?
Okay, that just... I mean...
Because,
I like the idea that all of them have been this entire time.
Because there is going to... Whenever we get to the explanation of what happens when a dragpin takes over... it's going to be a debate. When did they take over?
Oh, okay.
And we'll be like, okay, when? And I don't have an answer for you. I have lots of possibilities. It was when he was healed. It wasn't when he was healed. It's really going to become one of those things where...
It was on the hill.
It's really going to become a question of when did this take over.
Okay. Awesome.
So when we get there, we'll have to talk about that. But we do have finally the answer. Yes, Cyrus is an angel.
Yes.
Because he has the wings finally.
Those wings come right out.
Oh, wait until he actually reveals it to Natalie.
Yeah, because she's knocked out.
Because she saw them, but she doesn't necessarily gonna believe them.
Yeah.
When he actually says, "No, I'm an angel," it's funny.
He's like, woof, and I knocked that vase over with my wings. Damn it. Turned. Oh, I knocked something else over with my wings. I got to pull these back in.
Nope.
No, nothing
No,
like that.
the description of it, there's an explanation why it won't knock things over.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason for it. I don't know if it'll be in the next chapter we see Natalie, but it will be at some point we get the explanation of why.
Okay. All right.
I think it's an explanation with Kiana.
Cool.
Later on that we'll get the explanation
But
of why.
yeah, the Dragpen has now taken Kiana. Right now, you are technically in the Empire Strikes Back down ending for this story overall. We have Raven, who's now dead, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Brad has been obliterated. Same with his friends,
Yep.
as far as we know.
As far as we know.
And Kiana's been now kidnapped officially. And
Natalie has
been
kidnapped.
Well, no.
Kind of.
But saved.
Saved?
She's been liberated.
Saved from the kidnappers, but technically by going somewhere else by someone who.
It's against your will.
It's technically against her will. She's kidnapped.
I-
Kind
no,
of.
No, I'm sorry. No, I don't believe it. Remember, once again, it's not stalking. It's watching.
That's the thing. That's what I was
She's
thinking.
not kidnapped. She's been liberated.
No. It's I love. I was waiting for in this one for Cyrus to try to explain to Natalie. It's not kidnapping.
It's not kidnapping.
That's where Sage got that from. You do know him. And I didn't put that in there. I'm like, damn,
It's not kidnapping. I'm saving you.
now it's not kidnapping. It's saving you.
It kind of feels like you're kidnapping us from people who were trying to kidnap us. See, I'm saving you from them, but you're not. You know what? Never mind.
No, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, that was like there's like, how do you know what he was doing all this time? Like, were you stalking him? It's like, here
It's
it
not
comes.
stalking. I was just watching.
It's not. I was just watching, not stalking him.
It's the same thing.
Have you been talking to Sage? I told you he sent me here. You did? Oh, that's right. I told you to Kiana, not you. You were out cold when I said that. Right.
Poor Natalie. She still doesn't know why he's really there.
Oh no, but she was awake when she did that. Oh no, the fact that you don't want to go. Oh, and Cyrus' whole thing is you won't trust the guy who just saved you from your kidnappers. No, that's just smart because because you're saving us doesn't mean you don't want to kidnap us.
Exactly. How do we know what your reasons for this are?
But I think at the time that was my general thing of no, you're not listening. Natalie and Kiana are being stupid because this person just saved you.
But in reality,
like, no, you could just. All I know is they interfered in your plans.
and how do I know that they weren't trying to save me from you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like context will really run up on this thing.
Yeah,
You got when you're running, you got to keep in the context of that mind. That's why you do multiple drafts.
Yes, exactly.
Because when you get feedback,
sometimes you also can look back at a draft and go, it'd be better if it was written from this point of view.
Yeah.
You're like, I still have the idea of what I'm supposed to be doing here, but
yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like I know so much head hopping in this chapter.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So much.
What?
We're in Natalie's, then we're in Cyrus's. Back to no, we're in Cyrus's at the beginning. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we jumped to Natalie's to point out that Kiana didn't notice the light, but Natalie did, and that only brings more questions. Back to Cyrus. He gets knocked out. Did you like the? But we're also a very heavy narrator voice here too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pointing out the baseball bat Cyrus didn't notice. That was there, but not there now.
Hey kids, remember the baseball bat? That'll be important later.
That's kind of hint, hint, wink, wink. And then back to Natalie, back to Cyrus, back to Natalie,
Back to Natalie. Back to Cyrus.
back to Cyrus, back to Natalie, kind of.
Yeah.
No, I don't think when Cyrus drops down, I
think that's just general.
I think that's narrator dash Natalie.
Yeah.
Because she's passing out, but she does clearly see the wings, but she's passing out. So it's one of those things to lead into. Did I actually see that, or is that because I was hit so hard that I dreamt it? I dreamt it.
Yeah.
Scenarios I think I was going for. I don't remember honestly, but also one thing you can point out here. Don't get too used to it for a while. There was actually description.
What? No way.
Lots of description and not as much dialogue. Don't get used to it. We're going to have lots of dialogue to come up to. Don't worry. We're going to get back to the point of how a novel is written. Dialogue.
All dialogue driven.
Mostly dialogue.
Mostly people sitting around talking to each other.
Yes. Or just standing there and not actually doing anything.
Right.
Most people do stuff while they're No, not mine. Have you watched it? You've seen Arrow.
Yes.
The earliest episodes when what's his name? Oliver is talking, and he just stand there, and you get a wider shot enough, and you just see his hands just standing there, and it's like It feels awkward that the actors don't know what to do with their hands.
But then you realize that most people, when they're talking, they're either constantly moving their hands or their hands are standing sometimes in a weird spot.
Not really. Like they'll do, yes, they may be like they'll be there, but they're not like just straight down at the side, like, and it just the shot shows awkward. They later fix this in later seasons. You can see that they got better ideas with how to shoot stuff. Also, the actors found better ways to express, to do stuff, or they're doing stuff when they're talking.
Yes.
And if they aren't, they have a pose. Their hands are not just at their side like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
They're posing.
That's basically what this whole is. They're just standing there like this.
Yep.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I have no clue what to do with my hands, Adam. What do you do with your hands?
You just slowly move them around.
It's,
honestly, your hands should be voguing every time that you are talking.
Did you ever watch the show Modern Family?
No.
Okay, I don't know what season it's in, but it's a season where the main dad and the hot wife of the grandfather go to a coffee place, and they walk in, they not realizing they're filming a commercial there, and everything, because it's actually in L.A. They are in L.A.
Yeah.
And everything, and like, oh, if you guys want to be backroom actors, like in the background for this commercial, like, sure. They come back to it, and it's like, they're supposed to be just like whipping, like, and like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands. What do people do with their hands? The father's like, and like, and everything. And it's just like, I'm like, that's the thing. Like,
yep.
I had no clue what to do with these characters, so I just wrote it, no description. And sometimes when you're writing your first draft, if you don't know what they're doing, it's okay.
Yeah.
At least you're getting.
You leave it up to the reader's imagination.
No, you can do that too, but like, put it so it's not just all dialogue. You figure out what you can get out of the scene, you want in the scene, and then as you come back for multiple drafts, you can add stuff in to help flesh it. So it's not just the all dialogue and no description. No, you can come back. Okay, I have a better idea what the scene will look like.
All description, no dialogue.
Basically, this is what this
should be just one silent chapter.
Oh, that's good.
No one ever speaks.
It's all thoughts.
They just stare at each other.
It's all narration.
Yes.
And the end they said this.
Nope. They didn't even say. They just looked at each other.
And they knew they meant this.
Yes. Raised his eyebrow. And she was like, I understand you. And he was like...
Oh, that's dialogue.
Oh, yeah,
dialogue.
no. She looked back at him, nodded her head in understanding.
That this is what they meant.
This is the way.
This is the way. He is one of us.
Oh, God.
But,
all right.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, this chapter could have been shorter.
Yes.
The pacing there seems dragged out at points for a little bit.
You having pacing issues as a writer? Never.
But pacing issues when it's your first novel, and it's not far off from a good pace. It just needs some tweaking. Actually, it's really good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a luck thing. But yeah, there's things that I think we could have done faster. And in some places, like we do, like when Cyrus wakes up, they're already at the wood, like almost at the woods.
Yeah,
great. Whereas like having Natalie run off and having it follow her and everything, it could have been summarized to going there to get back to Cyrus or something like that. It's one of those things where it's few things you could just tighten it up, and the pacing would be better. But yeah, I do think I think we're in agreement. Starting with Cyrus at the top of the hill.
Yes.
After his dramatic reveal at the end of the last chapter.
Dramatic reveal.
And then having the whole pacing there.
Yeah.
One thing I think would have been far better is the talking points that we get here when they're relaxed. Could have been doing them driving.
Yeah.
And then having Brad show up. So they've got it away. And then somehow, how did he get there?
Yeah, how did he catch up? We were driving 30 miles an hour for a half hour.
And everything. And then have him do the whole run thing, kill him, and then, oh, she's injured, we got this thing. and all that, and then he pops back up again, but now he's all mangled. I think I like that better.
Yeah.
And then maybe have his friends that are not as mangled, but beat up and walking a little weird because Cyrus really hit them harder than we thought he hit them.
Maybe.
And they do have broken bones, and then they all burst into the drag pins. But yeah, but it's an interesting scene. Chapter.
It is.
Scene, chapter, yeah. Multiple scenes, but all blend in really well.
Yeah.
I never liked that concept of scenes, long scenes that are actually multiple scenes that blend in, because generally they're not.
Sometimes they work.
But when they're done well, they work. And I'm surprised how well, as a first time running a novel, it blends. Definitely needs a lot more work.
Oh,
but
yes.
When I say it works well, I'm always referring to as the first novel, how well it came out. But it clearly needs lots of work.
Yes, it does.
And everything to make it bring it up to a level of wanting people to actually publish it and get it to be bought. But for the first time, in like the first or multiple drafts, but like element, still okay. It got bad. Like it's. You can work with this. It's something you can work with. Where in Skylar Grant, there was a lot of things. Just write it from over.
Yeah, you just start over.
Just write this scene over from scratch.
Everything over from scratch.
Oh yeah, overall from that, it's definitely write the whole thing over from scratch.
Yeah.
But there were individual chapters that were well written, just not followed up well.
No.
Let's go all the way over here,
And then do this.
Yes. But anything else you want to add to this chapter?
No. That's everything.
Does it make you? I'm gonna have one question for you.
Yeah.
How does this chapter leave you as a reader? Like going through
I now have more questions that need answers, but you've answered enough.
Yep.
But at the same time, now you've opened up new questions. It's like, oh, Cyrus actually is an angel.
Okay, we do know it's not someone with an angelic power. He is
Right.
not a prophet of the Lord.
Yes.
Man.
And what are these drag pens?
Yep.
It's like, where did they come from? What are they? Okay. And
I actually don't think we get that. No, I think we do get an explanation.
well, I mean, who's the one in control of them?
Yes.
Like, is it the cult? The /
I
the
think
coven?
it's kind of obvious who's in control of them.
Or is it Manoto?
I think that's the obvious answer to this one, and it's the correct answer.
Well,
But-
yes.
Because he's the only one. But actually, in the Veil trilogy, if I set this up with the Veil trilogy, where I have two competing archangels vying for different things, it would make more sense, like a better way to who is in control? Which one is in control?
Which
or is there
one?
something we as unforeseen?
Or is this
scene?
another force altogether?
Yes. It would be even there, but yeah, it does ask you. There, but yeah, it makes you want to keep reading though,
Right.
In a sense, which is always good because as a first-time writer, most people don't know how to do that.
Exactly.
I don't know how I pulled it off as a first-time writer.
I don't know. You've done it a couple of times
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, I'm like, that's one of those things. I'm like, I clearly, when I know what I want to write, and like the scene for the drag pin ripping out, I knew what I wanted to write, like the back blowing up like a balloon.
Yep.
And then rip the flesh. Like I knew how I wanted to look, and it does come off. It still needs a little polish. I think I could do a far better job now. But as a first-time writer, you get what's happening.
That is a scene.
You get a very visual. It's a very visual thing,
Yes.
which in a book we do not get a lot of visuals from.
No.
But when the thing about this book, when I had a visual in my mind and I knew what I
You
wanted,
put it there.
I got it out there.
Yes, you did.
And
You
everything.
whipped it right out, right into the audience's faces.
I whipped it out there and I put it right in your face.
It's right
and
in
I
your face.
wiggled around. Wait, are we
What?
discovering what we're talking about?
Wait, the visuals, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not male genitalia.
What?
No, at all. We're not talking about that. Okay, we'll wrap this up here. When we're getting there, it's just time to wrap things up here. What did you think of this chapter? Do you agree with us that we should bring after end with the reveal of Cyrus in the last chapter and then bring all that into this one and just tighten things up? Or do you like how it ended? Let us know down in the comment section. Let us know how you're enjoying this story so far, your thoughts, predictions, where we're going with this, all this stuff. All that stuff. That'd be great. I'd say please We know people are listening and not posting. We don't because we haven't, as of recording, nothing's gone live yet.
Yeah, we have no idea yet.
Yep. And by the time this thing actually goes live, this actually might be wrapped. We might be getting all
We'll
this recording
probably
done.
be done.
Yeah. But please comment down below if you enjoyed this stuff. I would love it if you hit that like button. Nope. No. Let's do sacrifice. We're gonna go over sacrifice.
That's a good one.
Sacrifice that like button to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I've got already content on this channel, which will be on screen now. And if you don't find something that's on here for you to continue watching, go check out Adam's channel over at ZOP Gaming and watch some terrible gameplay.
We're awesomely bad.
And I can actually say this now because as of this recording, my stuff is on there.
Yes.
And you can go see how bad I play God of War 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, how great I am at blocking.
You can't block. And dodging's not good either.
No. I can block. I just don't. But whatever you go in to watch, we'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.